Good evening, my fellow entities, and welcome to Lair Filmaroo. Tonight, we will be reviewing Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. In 1957, archaeologist and adventurer Dr. Henry Indiana Jones Jr. is called back into action and becomes entangled in a Soviet plot to uncover the secret behind mysterious artifacts known as the Crystal Skulls. Now, I know a lot of people really hate this movie. A lot of people see it as the worst Indiana Jones movie because it involved aliens, it involved nuclear bombs. It's actually where the phrase nuking the fridge came from. But I gotta say it's like my third favorite Indiana Jones above Temple of Doom. I mean, it definitely is one of the more entertaining ones. I like the whole rocket ship, or I don't know what the hell you would call it. I guess it would be a prototype for the rocket car that we get to see during the beginning of the movie. After the whole chase throughout the warehouse where they were keeping the Ark of the Covenant, which we actually do get to see the Ark again. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely different from the plot of going after Nazis that we had in The Last Crusade and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. I do admit the villains are a bit campy, but that is kind of what you'd expect from an Indiana Jones movie. I mean, Spellco supposedly has these psychic powers that she's psychic, and we get few hints in this, and it's like that subtle thing where you don't really see the problem with it until the end, where obviously the aliens used the psychic link she had with them to end up transporting her to a different dimension, or I guess it's been implied that she was killed, but I doubt it. I'm actually pretty sure Mac and the rest of the Soviet soldiers are still alive. But either way, it's actually a pretty fun movie. I mean, I don't mind the whole Freedom Town nuking scene. I mean, that doesn't really ruin the movie for me. I don't mind the jungle chase. I think, honestly, it's a lot better than the desert chases from Raiders and from The Last Crusade. It's definitely better than the minecart chase. I mean, it's actually pretty cool. They had the weird tree cutter vehicle that was pretty cool, and I actually had a little version of it when the movie came out. I do like the fencing scene between Mutt and Spellco because it really gives Mutt something to do in this. I mean, a lot of people don't like that scene, don't like the whole jungle chase because of all this and because of the whole monkey thing. But let's be honest, it's about as campy as what was going to be, what they were going to do for the whole sword fight. The bringing a sword to a gunfight scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, it's pretty much the same campiness, but I guess Crystal Skull took it a bit further, but it just pretty much feels the same. I do like how we get to see multiple indigenous people in this movie. I mean, think of it, Raiders, we got like the one group from the beginning of the movie. Then in The Last Crusade, we get nobody other than the people of Cairo who were trying to protect the Holy Grail. I think the only other movie really that we get to see an indigenous tribe was in the Temple of Doom, where we meet the Indian people from the beginning of the movie and at the end. But let's be honest, this one focuses more on like the legend of El Dorado, the people of Peru, the people of the Mayans, the Incas, and the people that built the supposed El Dorado, the city of gold, which turns out in this movie to just be like a museum where we see all these mummies, we see all these artifacts that apparently the people gathered up for the aliens. And on top of that, I don't really mind the alien plot line. I think it's kind of cool that they're interdimensional beings, and it's on par with the whole idea of someone being able to pull out someone's heart in a Temple of Doom. It's similar to the Ark of the Covenant, where we see all those Nazis get burned and blown up. I mean, this is what Indiana Jones is pretty much known for, campiness, and I get it. They're seeing it as we kind of took it way too far. They went to the final frontier pretty much with the whole idea of trying to be campy, trying to be moving away from kind of religious things. I mean, technically the Crystal Skull is a part of the Mayan and Inca religions where they worshipped the sun, and now they're worshipping this being that comes from the sky. I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's still kind of got that religious aspect, but they also kind of want to do something fun and interesting with the aliens. I also kind of feel bad for the Soviets in this movie, because watching that one guy, I mean, I felt bad for the Nazi mechanic during the first movie, watching him get completely obliterated by the fan blade, where here I really feel bad for the Soviets that they ended up getting a couple of them got either launched off a cliff by a tree thanks to Marion's cleverness, or you've got the two that got just eaten and just got disintegrated by these ants and pulled into an anthill. And it's just, I feel bad for the one that follows closely to Spelko, because he ends up like, he looks too young to be going on this adventure, and the guy literally, he's too young to die, and then we see him get obliterated. I also like the little jokes from the 50s here, like there's the I Like Ike joke, which is apparently from a campaign that Eisenhower did during the Red Scare, where it meant it was like a message against communism. There was also that little Howdy Doody commercial or TV show episode on the TV in Freedom Town. I also like the little note on the fridge that it's made out of lead, which apparently has been myth busted, because apparently, in some senses, there was a test around that time that was done. I forget the name of the bomb, but it was I forget the name of the town too, but it was very similar to this test. And the bomb dropped, and the one thing that survived was a freezer. The lining was gone at the bottom of the freezer, but because it was made out of lead or some other thing, the freezer survived, and all the food that was in the freezer, which seemed pretty cool. I also like how during the malt shop fight, it's kind of like Grease, where we're watching Mutt, who was obviously a greaser, punch one of the preppy kids, and it causes a whole big fight, and you hear the interesting line of, "Get that greaser." I also kind of like the whole chase throughout the college, them riding through the college on the bike, and then Indiana Jones, out of nowhere, this kid asks him his opinion on this one professor, and he tells him, read this different guy. Read this guy because he's spent most of his life outside in the world and he's actually got an experience compared to the other guy. And tells him to get his head out of to stay out of the library and do his own research, which was kind of funny because he's telling this kid pretty much be like me and you'll go far, and it's kind of funny. You also get the famous Wilhelm scream from the one kid who is afraid he's going to be run over by the motorcycle. Like always, you get the some sound effects from Star Wars, where here, when the hangar door is opening, you hear the noise from Return of the Jedi when when Han Solo shoots the door and it breaks open the door to the shield generator, where here it's very similar. Overall, I kind of really like this movie. I mean, it's definitely lower on my list than The Last Crusade and Raiders of the Lost Ark. I can definitely say there is a lot of things to love. I was definitely a lot more entertained by this than I was Temple of Doom. I also like the parallels that we get in this, where Indiana Jones, in a way, is kind of like his father against Mutt, complaining that he needs to stay in school. He calls him Junior a lot. There's a lot of funny moments between them. I forget the scene, but there was a moment in there where Indiana Jones kind of gives him a similar look to what his father did during The Last Crusade, where he gives him a look over something he does. He also criticizes him a lot, similar to what his father would do to him. And it's almost as good as the whole Sean Connery, Harrison Ford relationship that we see throughout that movie, where here we've got Harrison Ford and Shia LaBeouf, and don't get me wrong, Shia LaBeouf is an amazing actor, but I can kind of see why a lot of people don't like him, but I personally do. I find him hilarious during this movie. I honestly would have liked him to be Indiana Jones's replacement, like taking over the mantle of Indiana Jones later on, but I guess we'll never get that because Shia LaBeouf no longer is in movies right now, and he's kind of in trouble a lot in Hollywood. But I kind of wish they'd gone with the whole, oh, he's gonna take over the mantle of Indiana Jones later on. I kind of hope we at least get a nod or something about him during the 5th movie, despite what everyone else says. Maybe we'll see him at some point during that, like a little nod to what Rocky did during, I think it was either Creed 1 or Creed 2, where he goes to see his son, and then we leave off with that at the end of the movie. But I don't know. I do like this movie. There is a lot to like. I do like that they brought back Marion, because she honestly was the best girl out of all the Indiana Jones movies. She was definitely smarter. She was definitely cunning. She could keep up with Indiana Jones compared to Willie and Schneider. But yeah, they definitely made a right choice bringing her back and kind of making this a family film. I know I didn't really mention much about Mac because, let's be honest, I didn't really care for him. I get he's a guy for hire. He only focuses on gold and money, but it kind of got old after a while of how boring it was. Oxley was pretty cool. I kind of like how they had a few nods to the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles that I still technically have to watch because I heard they're somewhat good. But yeah, I think I'm gonna give this at least an 8.5 because I do enjoy this movie. I do definitely like it. I like it better than Temple of Doom. It's a lot less annoying, but it also definitely isn't as high up on the list as Raiders and The Last Crusade. I do definitely feel that it gets way too much hate than it should. I feel people should give it another chance, at least just to see how good it is. I mean, I know there are a few people that have been trying to defend it over the years, but I can definitely say it's not as bad as you think. There are some interesting moments, some goofy moments, but it's definitely better than Temple of Doom. So, yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, click the little notification bell for more of our content. And this ends our run through the Indiana Jones movies. Have a great night, guys.